Not one, but two Monday Night Football games for us to enjoy. Welcome, everyone. Andy and Andrew from WagerTalk. We're going to be breaking down player props for all four teams. We got the Vikings, the Bears, we've got the Falcons, we got the Raiders. Let's get into it. You guys know what to do. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment in the comment section. There's two games. What do you guys like? Like, put a good bet in the comment section. We want to see what you guys have. If not, we're just going to go with the word wins. How about that? Pretty simple, easy word. It fits what you and I have been doing recently. Oh, see what I did there?
I like it.
So,
I
yes,
like it.
just type that in the comment section. It helps the algorithm, helps boost the rankings on YouTube. All right, Andrew, let's get into it. We're going to preface this by saying there's a few bets that we really like and a lot that we're just kind of unsure on. So we want to be upfront. We're going to go over some bets. A lot of these are leans. I have one best bet that I absolutely love. That is up on my WagerTalk page as well. And it looks like Desmond Ridder is going to be the starter. That's kind of one of the other big pieces of news that kind of just happened before we started. So, Andrew, let's just start with quarterbacks here. Darnold, Williams, Cousins, Ridder. Are you like any of these guys?
Yeah, I'm not really running to the window to bet on Desmond Ridder by any means here, Andy. That's for sure.
Okay.
But I mean, hey, who knows? Who knows? We can get involved in. But look, I'm targeting Caleb Williams tonight. I really like him. I like the over on his passing yards. Minnesota, their secondary has not been good. They're ranked 30th in the league as far as passing yards allowed. So I'm looking at his number. The number I locked in was 224.5. We're seeing the same thing live right now, so that's a good thing. And right now, 2 of his last 3 games he has gone over, and I feel like they've been inconsistent with their defense as well, and they've pretty much been needing him to pass the ball the entire game. There's been no real lulls in their game script where they're just running the ball. And so there was a point in time where I was taking a look at his completions under. I was taking a look at his passing attempts under. And I remember there was a game where I said pass attempts under for Williams, and you were head to head with me, and I think you beat me by about 15 attempts. So I will no longer be taking any unders on him. But I do notice one thing with him is that his longest completion has been a pretty good hit as well. He's usually good for 1 or 2 long balls, and especially with them these days, when you're a team that's not necessarily leading the entire game most of the time, you need 1 or 2 big plays, right? It's a big misconception. The teams that win all the time and have these winning records, their quarterbacks might not necessarily have to go over the longest completion props because they're just kind of working their way down the field. Meanwhile, the Bears, they might not have a lot of clock to work with. They need yardage really quickly. So I'll look towards that number with the 34.5. And I do like the fact that you're getting a really good number on the over 1.5 passing touchdowns. He's hit this a handful of games in a row now. You're getting a really good price on it. Like I said, the Minnesota secondary hasn't been that much to write home about. I feel like they've given up a lot more passing TDs than rushing TDs. And for Caleb Williams right now, I think this is the time we need to see something out of him because the team has been very up and down, inconsistent. They've lost a lot of games late. And we're getting plus 155 here. They're expecting us to bet these running props and rushing touchdowns, but not me. Over 1.5 for Caleb Williams. I'll look towards that. And Sam Darnold, I'll just say this, Andy, I kind of feel the opposite. And we're getting plus 130 on the under for him and plus 155 on the over for Caleb Williams. I kind of think they're going to run the ball in. So if you give me 2+ prices on that, we go 1-1. You know what we always say? You make money taking those 2+ prices.
Interesting. I kind of see. I like Darnold to throw over 1.5, but not at minus 170. That's crazy. So I'm going to be priced out of that one. I'm with you that I think Caleb has a good game. His pass attempts is 33.5, and he hasn't been going over this consistently. But man, against Minnesota at 47 in the last one, I think that might be the game you were referencing. And you said it, man. This is a defense for Minnesota that is really good against the run, and then they're 29th against the pass. Like you can throw all over them. So it's like, what's the path of least resistance here? Like, they're probably not going to generate too much of a pass rush, anyways. You got a lot more weapons for receivers, for the Bears. Like, you got multiple receivers and guys that can catch the ball, whereas the running game has been awful recently. Like, DeAndre Swift can't get anything going. So I'm with you that this could be one of those where Caleb Williams like just cashes every single one of these, like his completions, his yards, his touchdowns, so. I think it could be a little bit of a shootout. I would lean towards overs on this one. Yeah, I do have to ask you to not throw an interception as plus money. Okay, now Caleb Williams has not thrown an interception in 7 straight games. He's only thrown an interception in 3 games this year. He didn't throw one against Minnesota, but Minnesota has the most interceptions in the league this year with 20. They're number 1. Can you? I want to. I really, really want to take it. But if you tell me he's going to throw the ball another 47 times, it just feels like one of them might get intercepted here. What's your thought on the interception prop at plus money?
Well, I like what you said there, and I've heard you, I think, on WagerTalk today mentioning a lot of times these props have to do with with the volume. A lot of times the interception prop had to do with, the more he throws the ball, the greater chances something bad is going to happen, right? And again, that's why I'm saying sometimes, like there was a point in time where even Patrick Mahomes, his completions prop was a hell of a lot lower than some other players. So you look at even like Tua, right? Back when they were just like last year, especially just throwing these bombs downfield to Waddle and to Tyreek, their completions prop for some of these great quarterbacks and the attempts, they weren't that high. But I worry about it with Caleb, man, for how many attempts he might end up having. I get it. The streak right now and the plus money would be nice. And with props, we try and avoid the juice too much, but it wouldn't shock me to see one get picked. I wanted to say, Andy, I think that, we don't talk too much about live betting props. And I know that it can be kind of a dangerous game sometimes, but there's certain opportunities you can take a really good advantage with it. And one thing I've really been doing lately is live betting pass attempts for teams that are down. And, for Caleb Williams, a real good example is if you look at his first half pass attempts versus his second half pass attempts, in many of these games, it's not a 50-50 split as far as him getting to the number you want him to get to. He's getting to that number you want him to get to in the second half when they abandoned the original game script they had and they pretty much run the ball 20% of their plays and not, whatever the regular percentage might be. So, we're seeing this number at 33.5. It wouldn't shock me to see this be a little bit lower live, and then you can get a really better number. I'm just saying, I know we don't want to tell people to wait until it's live, and then the live number ends up being 37.5 or something crazy, but just something worth mentioning there as far as the live betting is concerned. But do you have anything on Cousins?
I mean, his interception prop it's minus 125. I mean, this is a guy who is just cratered. I mean, this interception prop has been incredible the last few times. I'm pulling up his numbers right here. He has 2-4-1-1 in his last 4 games. It's awful. Now, that being said, the Raiders, they only have 7 interceptions this year and no Max Crosby. So you want to talk about no pass rush. I mean, he's gonna have a chance to be there all day. But again, volume. He just keeps throwing interceptions. The ball's not coming out real quick. That being said, you can run on the Raiders. So is he going to have the same volume that Caleb Williams has? Like, if you were to tell me, like, who's going to have more pass attempts, Kirk Cousins or Caleb Williams, I would say Caleb Williams is probably the big favorite. So, with Cousins, you're looking at terrible form, but you're also going, well, he may not need to throw the ball a whole lot. Could be a big Bijan game. I will tell you, I actually kind of like Desmond Ridder here. So Atlanta can't get any type of pressure, like none. They just can't get any pressure on the quarterback. So he's going to have time to throw. And you look at his passing yards total. I mean, he had 101 against Tampa Bay where he only played half the game. He completed, 12 passes. Not bad. He's only played like where these itty bitty little pieces of games, where he doesn't get a chance to start. And with no Max Crosby, I just think he's going to have a lot of time. They can't run the ball. Like that. Talk about non-existent run game. Look no further than the Raiders. Revenge game for him. little bit. Like,
Yeah. The thing is, do you use revenge game? Well, I hear this all the time in
Desmond
other
Ritter.
sports. That's the thing, right? Can the term? It's like in hockey when it's like a goaltender revenge game. Like we saw that over the weekend in the NHL. It only applies if I think the said person in the revenge is good. That's the thing
Yes.
that kind of worries me a little bit. So the only thing I
Yeah.
have in that game is Cousins completions on the season. Vegas, they're the 11th ranked team as far as completions allowed per game, and not 11th in a good way. And right now, you mentioned their pass rush is inexistent. You miss one player, yeah, it is what it is. You miss the guy they're missing, Max Crosby. It's a really big deal, and so Kirk Cousins is one of those quarterbacks that needs protection, and when he has it, he can perform at a high level. Let's be honest, he doesn't have that athleticism to skate the pocket and move around. I'd love to see what his footwork would look like in some of those drills. Tiptoeing inside the tires and in some of the ladder drills. I don't think he can do it, but I think this number is relatively low. Over 21.5 is one that I like quite a bit here. I think no matter what goes on in this game, I think 21.5 is kind of a discount. And I think that we get this number, Andy, because of the books feeling confident about the rushing for the Falcons. And, they don't have one, but they have two guys that are getting a handful of touches. So that kind of plays into account, I think, as far as the number here each week for Kirk Cousins' completion number.
That's great. Putting him next to Drake London trying to do the foot drills probably looks a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, that's interesting. I think if I'm playing things with confidence tonight in bulk, it's probably the quarterback props. So, Andrew, you, my friend, are on a heater in the NHL tonight. Congratulations to you. Tell everyone about what you have going on at WagerTalk.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's just one prop play in the NFL for all access subscribers, but the play of the night tonight is the NHL play, and it's a 4% play. We're going for 9 straight. And it was a really, really good weekend in the NHL. And I've been pretty transparent that it's been pretty much just a 500 season so far, which isn't horrible, but it's not great either. We've just been absolutely treading, not negative units, not really plus units, and this is the run that I've been waiting on. Tonight's play is a situational play that I've been betting on a lot lately. It's been really working for me. And it fits a really, really good, kind of just like a good strategy that's worked, not just this year, but dating back to last year as well. It's only a 3-game slate in hockey, as you know. But even though it's only 3 games, it's 3 really good games. So, yeah, guys, you can get that play, or you can take advantage of the deal right now at WagerTalk. You buy 7 days, you get 3 for free. That works for myself and works for Andy. And I just got a promo code that I didn't send to Andy, but I'll mention it on the show. It is season 150, season 150. That takes $150 off of my full NHL season. So, we're heating up, guys. This is the time to do it if you want to join me for the full entire NHL season 150. I've been waiting on this run, Andy. I really have. And I've been very patient. I've been selective. It's been frustrating. I've been relatively low volume, as you know. So hopefully can keep it going. But you're plugging away yourself, man, not just in one sport, but multiple sports. You're crushing NHL again with these. And I like how this year you're betting on guys to do well and not do well, not just the unders.
Yeah.
I've seen you're betting overs this year a little bit too. So I like to see it.
Oh, some of these guys at 1.5 shots on goal. I mean, I've talked about it, Olin Zellweger at nauseum. That's no secret anymore. Yeah, that's my guy. 16 out of 17 games going over shots on goal prop.
Crazy.
Yeah. Tonight, Monday Night Football best bet. 3-2, nice little winning day on Sunday. And there is one play that we really like. That is up 16-6 props run. That's all sports. And we're still holding on to that number 1 spot. Last 2 years profit, 192 units the last 2 years. So looking to build off of Sunday. This is a play I've locked in. We bet all of our own plays with our own money. So if it's confident enough for us to bet, it's certainly confident enough for you guys to invest in. So Monday Night Football best bet is up, wagertalk.com. I don't know, there's just not a lot I'm liking with these receivers. I feel like these numbers are dialed in pretty good. I will tell you the one that's kind of interesting to me is this Michael Mayer. Out of nowhere, he had 7 catches last week, Andrew. And I don't know if that was just I don't know. Where did that come from? He had 8 catches in the entire season previous to that game, and then 7 in one game. So it's like, well, what's going on with Mayer there? They don't even DraftKings doesn't even have his receptions, but it's 19 and a half yards. If maybe Ritter just loves throwing to his tight end, Ritter's not a guy that pushes the ball down the field. So maybe Michael Mayer at this 19 and a half, you got to believe they're going to try and double and triple cover Bowers. So other than that, not a whole lot I like in the receiving props. What do you think?
Cole Kmet over 24 and a half receiving yards is one I got on. I think that for him, he's going over his 2.5 receptions prop in a handful of straight games, but I think that it's too juicy. So we'll go with the receiving yard number here. I think if you can play it up to 27 and a half, I'm completely fine with that. He seems to be getting a decent amount of attention. And if I'm looking at yards, if I'm looking at touchdown props, if I'm looking at a lot of stuff for Caleb Williams, as you know, every Monday I kind of correlate type of thing. So if I'm going to look towards certain guys, and a lot of times if I like a lot of yards for a quarterback, I'm not just going to go with the top players. Although I feel like last week on the show that we did, if you took both teams' top guys, I think you did relatively well. That's for sure. How about Kyle Pitts under? He's someone that's been not. Let's look at the target numbers: 2, 3, 1, and even the ones where he had 6. He had 6 targets last game, 1 reception. 6 targets. I mean, I'm interested in that. When I was sometimes you're looking down at a website and looking at some guys' numbers, and you're like kind of shocked. And some people might say, "Oh no, he's getting the targets." Well, there was another game where he got 6, another game where he got 9, and he barely even went over this number. So yeah, I'll look towards that one. And here's another one as well that I kind of wanted to run this one by you. What do you think about Bijan over on his receiving? You know, I used to bet him quite a bit over receiving. Then the number got a little bit higher than it was at one point. Is it something that interests you?
I mean, yeah, he had a big string of, just flying over his total. And then last week he goes for 9 yards, but that was, it was against Minnesota. And I don't know. I don't know what to make of what the Raiders defense is going to look like. I mean, there's a chance that Bijan doesn't need to catch any passes because they're handing the ball off to him and he's just eating up gigantic chunks of yardage. So if I'm taking Bijan, it's probably rushing. I wouldn't talk you out of it. He's been pretty consistent with it. 6 out of the last 7 games is a nice little run. But if I'm betting Bijan, it's rushing. I think that's where they can have success. So I would say I abstain from any comments or opinions on that play, as I don't feel strongly one way or the other. Let's take a look at rushing props here. Again, not a whole lot. I will say this DeAndre Swift number is dropping, and for good reason. He doesn't have over 40 yards in the last 3 games. He's not getting very good rush attempts, and it's a Vikings team that we went over that you can throw on. So if I'm Chicago, am I leaning a lot more on Caleb? Probably. I mean, they're going to have to probably hand the ball off to him just to keep the defense honest, but I wouldn't necessarily say I think he's going to have a big game. 14 and a half, that seems like a lot as well. Like, I would think Chicago would have to be winning late in order for him to get over this one. So, and dropping down here to the Falcons running backs. Yeah, it says a lot that Bijan's rushing total, his attempts is 17 and a half. Like, I could see him really getting over there, and he's got a huge total for rushing, 83 and a half. The only other one I would bring up is Caleb Williams. One of the reasons why he doesn't throw interceptions is, well, first off, he takes a lot of sacks. Like, he just doesn't throw the ball away. But he can take off and run. He's pretty active and athletic when he gets out there. He's got some long rushes, and when you look at the rushing yards, pulling up his numbers here, what he's done the last few games, 27, 39, 33, 70, and the 33 yards was against this Minnesota team. So they get a pass rush on him. He takes off and runs. He can extend, those 10, 15-yard runs. So those are some rushing props I would look at. What do you think?
Just 2 for me, and I'm going to look towards Algier over 6.5 rushing attempts. One of those ones where, hey, I don't care what you do when you get the ball, just give the guy the opportunities, and I'll be more than happy there. Just to go over some of the ones recently, we got 9, 8, 0, 11, 6, 12, 18 has been in the mix there, and a lot of this has to do with kind of the game script I'm expecting. And I think if this goes how I expect, I think that he should be able to get involved in the game. I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout by any means, but I do think this is one of those games where we could see, both guys utilize. There's some opportunities in some games where it's just like, hey, look, you might get a few touches if we need you, or if Bijan just ran like a 50-yard one and we need to give him a break. But this is one where I think Algier could actually be a part of the game plan. And then the other one was just one you mentioned. And again, I talk about a lot of my plays being correlated, but I think Swift under is a really good one. And even though it's a little bit juiced now to the under, if you can still get that 14.5 attempts number, I feel like that's the way to go. And especially for a guy like Swift, Andy, I'm very strong in the belief that I think with him, you need to take the attempts versus the yards. I think that, you don't want to be watching the game with his yards, in your pocket and take the under and watch him fly over this, but somehow only sniff, 11 or 12 carries. It would just be very, very painful to look at. So I think that if Minnesota goes up early, if we see the second half, the pass attempts start to fly, that means the rushing attempts start to go down, and hopefully things work out very well for us in that way. So I'm looking towards that. As far as Aaron Jones, so I was going to ask you in the previous segment, like, he's been actually catching the ball quite a bit. And as someone that's a Green Bay Packer fan, I saw him in some games not even act as a running back. So I'm a little bit interested here with this 66.5 number, because I don't see this often. If I'm taking Aaron Jones today and I liked his props, it would be rushing plus receiving, because I wouldn't want to have to worry about which one is going to help boost the other one over. I think the rushing plus receiving could be a pretty good option for him. And this is when I was going to throw back at you. Caleb Williams, I just wanted to see, would you go under for him just based on lately? It seems like he's kind of cooled the Jets a little bit on escaping the pocket, or is it too risky because he is so athletic?
No, I like him over. I like it. If I'm playing him, I'm playing over this one.
Right.
Like I said, he can get long rushes. He went over this total easily last time they played. He's a bet on for the rushing. He's like, he's in these younger guys like Bo Nix and Drake May come where if their first read isn't there, okay, they look for the second read and then they take off and run. Why? Because they're fast enough, because they're athletic enough, where it's like, Matthew Stafford, he's going to stand back there and find his fourth and fifth read because he doesn't want to take off and run. So, if I'm playing Caleb Williams rushing, it's over. It's going to be over on that one. So, his rush attempts, 4.5. I think I might lean to the over on that one as well, but,
correlated. We'll take the over on attempts and under on the. Could you imagine
the Kirk Cousins?
Kirk Cousins special.
It's the old Kirk Cousins play. We'll take the under on yards and over on rushes. So yes, but again, am I super confident? No. Did I bet that one with my own money? No. So take that for what it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right,
I will be betting the DeAndre Swift under with my own money on attempts. To put that out there. That's what I do like that one. I feel like it just correlates well with the pass attempts and yards over with Caleb Williams. I think those work well together.
All right. Let's do the unthinkable and let's try and hit a same game parlay.
He hit the button.
In
Here
this
we go.
game. Let's do Bears and Vikings. All right. I will go first. I like Caleb Williams over his attempts. So Caleb Williams over his attempts. So I'm going to start us off with 33.
Throw in the passing touchdowns. Throw it in there.
All right. Now we're talking. Caleb Williams to throw 2. So now we're up to 3-1. All right. I will do our next one. Let's go to rushing props. And boy, these are tough. I'll do so I actually think Aaron 15.5. Man, that's a ton. I'm gonna go. There's DeAndre. You know what? Let's take DeAndre Swift under. You like his attempts, so let's go under 14.5 attempts. Now we're up to 6-1. So we got Caleb Williams over the passing. Caleb Williams 2+ touchdowns. DeAndre Swift under 14.5. What's our last piece?
Look, this is when I said I was trying to get like a really big plus price out for you here,
Okay.
but I don't have one off the top of my head for you, so I'm just gonna throw this out there. I do like Komet, so you could take him like 25 plus, or we can get a little crazier. And let's see what we can get. I mean, 40 plus is plus 200.
There you go.
If you want to go there, but I knew.
Yeah. There's
we can't take the minus 125. We need this guy to get. Yeah.
This is the we expect the Bears to throw a lot, not run a lot parlay.
Yeah.
So Caleb Williams 33.5 pass attempts. Caleb Williams 2 touchdown passes. DeAndre Swift under 14.5 rush attempts, and Cole Kmet over 40. This is a very these are not going to be. This is not a client play.
Yeah.
I will not be betting this with my own money, but if you want to have a little fun, just throw a little bit of a sprinkle on this one. So, all right, guys, quick reminder, Andrew is on an absolute heater in the NHL, 8-0 run, going for number 9 tonight. You're going to get it, man. You're going to get to this. You're going to get the streak to double digits. I can feel it. So go grab it, Andrew's play. I do have my Monday Night Football best bet that is up, coming off of a really nice 3-2 profitable day for football on Sunday. 16-6 in my last 22 props runs, still holding on to the number 1 spot in the last 2 years profits. Let's have a good Monday night. Good luck on your plays, and we'll see everyone later.